Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Hut's Gaming League with Assetto Corsa Competizione and our GT3 League. We're here for round 12 of the championship, penultimate round of 13. There was going to be around a Kyalami. I don't know exactly what happened there, but and I forgot to mute my phone. Bear with me. So, we're here at Silverstone with 18 drivers. I was already in the garage, wasn't I? I don't know. Things are strange with this game. What's going on? People pulling out. I know there's no sound at the minute. I have to turn the sound back on. Oh. Media volume was on, but there we go. That's at least proven that I haven't messed things up, and there we go. Right, so that was a strange sound. Oh, and I've just noticed the skin on Radek's Ferrari there. 499p. Love it. Right, let's see if I can remember all the controls, because it's been a little while. I pressed the wrong things. So, Samuel Macek, I think probably Macek in the WRT Audi. WRT, of course, champions in LMP2 in the World Endurance Championship. And Christian Dorn in a McLaren 720S GT3. At least I think it's the 720S. And that, Peters Weem and Krebs. Joris Peters Green. Peters Wet track potentially? Well, it does look a bit damp, doesn't it? And Krebs in the second Grass McLaren. Ferry Schroeder, bright blue Porsche, which means I'm probably missing some liveries somewhere. Declan Bowler. And Zesty Grandpa. What are these names, man? Zesty Grandpa. Next thing you know, it's going to be some kind of new cocktail. Alexei Shlovic, 296 GT3. Brian Wilson in the Spitfire McLaren. Sherlock in an AMG. Is that Iron Lynx? It is an Iron Lynx Lamborghini. And of course, Lamborghini and Iron Lynx joining the top flight of WEC next year. And IMSA with the Lamborghini SC63 LMDH hypercar. Zach Summerall, Jamie Shaw, Bomberclat in another Spitfire McLaren. And there's our AF Corsa Adam Radek. I believe it's Czech. So, who's gonna get a time on the board here first? Looks like it might be Brian Wilson. We'll keep an eye on things. But what I'll do is I'll go back to basic HUD and then we can see who's on a time lap. Brian is not on a time lap. Corsial is, though. 4 seconds down, apparently. Let's see how things turn out here. I'm going under the assumption that Corsial is our first time lap here, as Brian Wilson did get out of the way, which tells me that he had blue flags. Out of Luffield through Woodcut we go towards the timing line, and Corsiol puts in the benchmark at a 2:05.662. Zach Summerall cannot manage to go faster. Next is Shaw. Very Andy Warhol-esque M4. Goes P3, 2.5 seconds behind. Bomberclat appears that he invalidated. Khalid Malcolm next across the line, 4.7 seconds off. Adam Radek in the 499P goes 2 seconds slower than Corsiol. Kent and who is that? Verhulst next across the line. Kent goes P4, but then it gets knocked down to P5 as Verhulst went P3. Samuel Machek next, P7, and Christian Dawn, P4, just ahead of Radek. Next is Krebs, former champion here, and 1/10 off of Nico Corsiol, so definitely in the mix. Next up, Sherlock had a very poor lap, so invalidated. Shlovic next in the default livery. Ferrari P8, 2.5 seconds, well, a little over 2.4 seconds behind. Cars now coming out. Who is the 19? Dunno. Gotta love it. Who was the 19 then? The 19 was Jabba, who has not managed to get a lap time on the board, especially with all these cars now coming out for another attempt. Gonna be pretty close for some of these drivers. Oh, and there's a car going off. That's Bomberclat, who seems to have had a mistake going through Maggots and Beckett's. Which means those two cars out on track. Adam Radek and Bowler, who has not managed to get a time on the board. Radek, of course, 1.9 seconds down. In P6 now, as someone, I think it was Krebs, displaced him. Doesn't look like this is a flying lap for either of these guys. This is their out lap. Potentially, Schultz and Kent have not come out for a second attempt. Corsiol coming out, very late exit. Going to be pretty close for the others if they want to try and get out. Number 91 is going, that is Kent in the V12 powered Aston Martin. Glorious sound as Bowler. Did he cut the corner there? Doesn't look like he did. Will now be on his only real flying lap of the session here. The only one that's going to count. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. That's better. So, going through Maggots and Beckett's. Already a 10th down on his previous attempt. Or second down? I don't know. Can't tell. Didn't get a good lap in last time, did he? It's 3:57. That's not exactly a good lap at all. It's almost life F190, L190, or whatever they call it. Through Stowe we go. Toward the run towards Vale and past the F1 pit lane. Through Vale chicane we go, and Village corner, I think it is. Never remember the names of these corners around this track. Now towards Abbey. Used to be a left-hander all those years ago, now it's a right-hander. We're going into the farm section. Hard on the brakes. Right-hand turn, 50 mile an hour, apex speed, and then another left-hand turn. Then it's pretty much flat out, a little bit of a lift. Nope, keeps it flat. Onto the Wellington Straight. And now Brooklands and Luffield approach. Or has he got Brooklands a bit wrong? Doesn't appear so. managed to keep it clean. And now through Woodcut for the final time. It will come across the line in a 2-minute 4, and he's managed to put it P1. How's he done that? Radek does improve as well. Moves up to P4. Next up is going to be Sherlock, number 72. Looks like he couldn't get his number 71. Doesn't it really improve? Zach Summerall up next. Where can he go? He now takes P1 from Bowler by more than a second, with Verhulst just behind. Fabian Krebs cannot improve. Nor can Bomberclat, who's the 555. Peter Zweem now puts it P2 on the grid. What about Fabio Schreider? Gets a little bit of a slide out of Luffield. Foot to the floor, pedal to the metal, and now Schreider goes provisional pole. What can Schlovic and Shaw do? They can improve. Shaw moves up to P9. Where did Schlovic go? Schlovic only moves to P10 if you improved at all. Next, Machek. Up to P11. Where's the number 695 gone? There we go. Nico Corsiol. In the Iron Lynx Lamborghini. 2.2 seconds up on his previous best. This could be a very good lap. It's enough for P2. And last man out on track at the minute, Charles Kent, not Clark Kent, in the V12 Aston. And he moves to P6. Has Bowler gone for another lap? It looks like it. It seems he had enough time. He's got that corner, but it doesn't. And he moves up to P3. Khalid Malcolm now. Can he improve that 7-second time? I don't think so. It looks like he's invalidated again. Indeed, he has. Sherlock, also looking to improve. Might well improve. Moves up to P9. So it's Schreider on pole. Lamborghinis in positions 2, 3, and 5. And Zach Summerall, second on the grid in the McLaren, P4. Not a bad little session at the end there.
This is the epic outline of Silverstone, opened in 1948, changed from time to time over the years, but still the essence of its place is that...
How do I turn off the guy? Audio. I can turn that off. Okay, I'll turn it up a little bit. So, 1 minute and 45 seconds until a 1 hour race. Is that how it's meant to be? I thought it was 2 30-minute races. Hang on, let me check the calendar quickly. No, it is indeed a single 60-minute race. That's Hungaroring that next week that has 2 30-minute races, so my mistake. 1 hour of racing soon to come. Just wetting the whistle because I'm gonna need it. An hour. Let's see. It looks like it's gonna be cloudy with a bit of sunshine, at least for the next 30 minutes in game. Keep an eye on those weather stats if they change at all. 15 seconds until formation lap? I don't think it's going to be a full formation lap, surely not. Bloody heck, pardon me. So, cars get underway. It does look like it's going to be a full formation now. Okay. So, Schroeder. Ferry Schroeder, sorry, I called him Fabio earlier. Ferry Schroeder in the 222 GT3 Pro. Nathan Corsiol, not Nico. Such a strange last name. The Iron Lynx GT3 Pro Lamborghini. More pro cars. I think everyone here is going pro. Oh, that's silver. Then like then. Helicopters having a bit of a seizure. Formation lap indeed. So it's like Formula 1. So question is it going to be a rolling start or a standing start? That is the question. Who can come out on top? Porsche or Lamborghini? Or potentially even, what's it called? McLaren. Summerall a little out of position. Oh, there's been a spin on the formation lap. That is not going to be good. Who was that? That is Samuel Maychek, who's had a spin. How has that happened? That's going to put him out of position. I don't know if he's going to be allowed to retake the positions he's lost there. Oh, that's getting a bit close. Oh! And he's absolutely cooked it. Oh, and he's gone. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, dear, indeed. Skids reckons that Nathan Corsiol is going to be victorious. Anything can happen in an hour. Strange, ghosting's enabled, and yet Maciek acted like it wasn't. He took evasive action. It is strange. Well, pretty much the penultimate corner now for Brooklands and Luffield. Press the wrong button. Schroeder versus Corsiol versus Bowler, Peters, Wien, Summerall, Verhalst versus everyone, but right now the start is approaching. Can't see the lights. But they're there. There they are. 5 red lights on. And it's green, green, green. Racing gets underway for the next hour, and Schroeder is leading them away. He's just about holding off Corsiol. But Corsiol looking up the inside. Is he going to make the dive bomb into Maggots? No, he's going to stick behind. Side by side for Summerall and Bowler behind. I did not mean to press that. I want the helicopter cam if I can. There we go. Oh, that's a bit wide for Summerall, and he's gone onto the runoff a little bit. And now he's lost a position under threat, under pressure from the other McLarens behind. At the minute things are getting a bit funky. Some are looking for a dive bomb, and oh, it's gone completely wrong! Made the dive bomb on, I think that's Peter's Weem. Peter's Weem does lose a position, but for Summerhill, disaster. He's gone off completely, and I think someone else has gone off as well. There's been multiple cars gone off. 22, 6, and 4. So, two McLarens and one of the BMWs. So Summerhill and Verhulst. Maybe it was Verhulst that we were looking at making the dive bomb, don't know, but went all wrong for him. Meanwhile, getting Bomberclat and Jabber both going a bit too far onto the curbs for their likings. Further down the field. Peter's Weem now right behind Fabian Krabs. And at the minute, the leaders pulling away from each other. Schroeder, 1.2 seconds ahead of Corsiol, who is 1.9 seconds ahead of Bowler, who is 1.4 seconds ahead of Peter's Weem, who is going side by side with Fabian Krebs. Through Luffield, and now under threat from Charles Kent. Superman he is not. But will that V12 engine give him a little bit more oomph than the V10 in the Lambo? I mean, it shouldn't. They've both got 520 horsepower. Oh, very wide for Peter's Weem. And yet doesn't appear to have picked up a penalty or anything. Leaders still holding on. Bomberclat and Shrovik getting in a little close. 0.3 seconds on either side of Bomberclat. To a Ferrari in front. And a BMW behind. A BMW of Khalid Malcolm, who appears to have got a very good run. But Bomberclat brakes much later, though that sends him wide. Opens the door for Khalid Malcolm to try and take the outside. Not going to work out on this occasion. So some pretty good defending from Bomberclat. Good defensive drive at the minute, though Khalid Malcolm still very close. Spitfire McLaren does not look like it's had the greatest of exits out of the... Oh, there's a car gone round. That is Sherlock. That's gone rather wrong, hasn't it? And Verhulst fighting his way back up the field, up into 14th now, ahead of Andy Schultz. Jabber also trying to fend off Summerhill, also making his way back up the field. Oh, what the hell happened there? Looks like he hit some sort of bump in the circuit. Lost control? What on earth was that? So all his hard work is now gone to waste. He's got to do it all over again. Seemingly because the game decided that it was going to try and send him into the back rooms. Jamie Shaw, meanwhile, making his way past Andy Schultz as well. So 2 of the 3 cars that spun on the first lap, making their way back. Oh, look, another car's gone off. Peter's Weem. It's all gone wrong for the man who started in 5th place. Now he finds himself 11th, and he's got it all out of shape through Maggots and Beckett's. Now he's going to be under threat from Dries Verhulst. Bomberclat, side by side with Khalid Malcolm. It looks like his valiant defense coming to an end, as he simply doesn't have the straight line speed on the BMW M4. Indeed, he has to yield that position. Radek closing in on Kent. And Krabs closing on Bowler. To the 3rd place Lambo. Not looking as safe, though. Krabs got a little bit of a slide coming through Abbey. Went very wide, was lucky to keep it on the track there. Could have gone very, very wrong. But that's cost him about 0.4 of a second to Bowler. That's also, of course, enabled Kent to catch up a little bit, but he's still got to mostly focus on the 499P tribute behind. Peter's Weem closing on Bomberclap meanwhile. But definitely faster driver. That is ahead. Malcolm going rather wide at Luffield. Looked like he was going to slide for a second. Managed to keep it going in a straight line, and Peter's Weem definitely faster. Can he take the inside? Careful not to do a Lewis Hamilton. Bomberclat still holding on for now, but can he hold on for any longer? No. Loses the position before Maggots and Beckett's. So now, the 555 Lamborghini chasing after Khalid Malcolm and Alexei Shlovik. Meanwhile, Radek has really closed on Charles Kent. Very, very close. Almost bumping into the diffuser there. The 296 definitely seeming to be the superior car at the minute to the Aston Martin V12 GT3. Vantage GT3. The gap now 0.4 of a second. Radek a bit later on the brakes. Wonder if the car is just a bit lighter than the Aston. The gap now 0.3, 0.2. Better traction out of the chicane and onto the Wellington straight. He has the DRS, not the DRS, the slipstream. Taking a look, but just doesn't quite have the overspeed on the Aston Martin. Has to hold in P6 for just a little bit longer. Meanwhile, the gap between Schroeder and Corsiel, well, they've just Corsiel's just done this 0.2 slower lap than Schroeder, but the gap's still relatively stagnant, 1.5 seconds now. So they're not. Schroeder's not dropping Corsiel, and Corsiel's not really catching up, especially as he's just touched the grass there. Kent, meanwhile, holding on for dear life to P5. I'll get a better view than that guy, just staring at the rear wing. That gap's still 0.3. Radek close, but just not close enough. Got to be some kind of dirty air interfering with the aerodynamics of the 296 GT3. Of course, Radek's using the number 71, that's why Sherlock is number 72. Because Radek has stolen Sherlock's number. Oh yes, indeed it does. V12 power. And I can't wait for WEC and IMSA in 2025, because the Aston Martin Valkyrie hypercar is coming back, and that's going to be using a 6.5 litre naturally aspirated V12. Producing something like 680 horsepower, which is the most they're allowed to produce in the hypercar regulations. It's gonna be glorious. I mean, it's one thing that the Cadillac VLMDH has a 5.5 litre naturally aspirated V8, but that's not going to hold a candle to a V12. I think it's going to be the first V12 in endurance racing since maybe the 90s, with a BMW Williams V12 LMR. Might be wrong there. Actually, no, it won't be the. Well, I think the Peugeot did it first with the 908 HDI FAP. It did it first, it didn't last, rather. But that was a diesel, and whilst it did sound good on the onboards, it was a very quiet machine. So it certainly wouldn't have sounded as good as an naturally aspirated petrol V12, which is what the Valkyrie is going to be using. Is it just me, or does the stream look a little bit, I don't know, laggy? It doesn't look like it's a smooth 60 FPS. Not sure. Well, at the minute, Radek still not able to make the move, although he's getting very deep on the brakes there. Closing in, he's going to make the dive bomb. No, it's just a little bit of a look. Is that going to compromise him? Potentially. The gap's still 0.3. He's just not able to make his way past. This is a point where he's going to wish he had something like DRS. I think in all this battling, they might actually be catching Krebs ahead. Radek pushing from behind is making Kent push. And he's now 0.7 behind Krebs. So this is going to turn into a three-way battle for fourth. Especially, look at the difference in lap time. It's 2 minutes 0.7 for Kent, 2 minutes 1.4 for Krebs. So the McLaren definitely starting to struggle a little bit. Corsial is starting to drop from Schroeder. It seems to be doing a bit better through the corner, and yeah, Schroeder went a bit wide at Stowe. This is now a three-way battle for P4, and it looks like it could even turn into a four-way battle for P3. Because Bowler now seems to be falling into the clutches of Krebs somewhat. There's other battles going on. Let's have a look. Summerall making his way past Sherlock. Recovering from his second incident. Doesn't look like he picked up any damage from that. And is able to make his way quite nicely past Sherlock. That was the only real battle left. So, Krebs under massive pressure now from Kent, who's also under pressure from Radek. It's all coming to a head now. Going three wide down the Wellington Straight. It's a little bit of contact between the Aston and the McLaren. One's going to have to yield, and Krebs falls behind the Aston Martin, and now Kent has to try and use Krebs like a bit of a rolling chicane. It's gone all wrong! Massive crash between all three of them! That was such a good battle, and it's all gone horrifically wrong. Kent manages to get back going as well as Radek. The least inconvenienced of the three. What happened? I think we have potentially had a retirement there. Where has he gone? I don't see him anymore. It was Krebs. Where has Krebs gone? Krebs is gone. Krebs is retired. Potentially had terminal damage. And now Dawn and Radek. Peter's Weem closing on Radek. Kent under pressure from Verhulst. Fighting his way back up the field. Fighting for P7 now. I can only imagine what kind of damage that Kent has. It shouldn't be a huge amount. Same with Radek. But clearly, Krebs either rage quit or his damage was terminal. Such a disappointing way for that battle to end. Definitely going to get investigated. Meanwhile, Peter's Weem trying to throw it up the inside of Radek's Ferrari, and that Ferrari does look a bit battered, so there's potentially not working at its full potential. Can our baby blue Lamborghini get past? It's going to have a look. Decides against making the move there. It's going to have to hang back at Luffield and see if he can make it the move towards Copse. Cutting the corner just a little bit cheeky. This move definitely not going to happen in Copse. Radek, 2.15. 2 minutes, 1.5 seconds rather. Compared to Peter's Weem, whose last lap was a bit better than that. What about Dawn's last lap though? Is Dawn going to be falling into the clutches of Radek? Radek's going a bit sideways. And Beckett's might be under significant threat from Peter's Weem on the run down towards Stowe. Bit of light flashing from Peter's Weem, who feels that he is faster. Get out of my way! Is Radek going to make way? He does! Radek, realizing that his car is compromised, doesn't really fight it. Opens the door for Peter's Weem and lets him by. At least that's how it looked to me. Maybe Radek got his defense all wrong. Or maybe he was just making way for a clearly faster car, knowing that he couldn't hold on to the position. We've seen it many times in Formula 1, where slower cars, despite technically defending the position, will just not really fight. So Peter's Weem now looking to make it a Lamborghini 2-3-4. He's back where he started pretty much. And now, getting a bit too close to the rear end of Christian Dawn's McLaren. And the McLaren now making his way. Getting out of the way, rather. Or, that's a very sneaky defensive move. Side by side. Through Brooklands, and that's forced Peter's Weem wide. That turns into the inside of Luffield. That's a bit... Getting a bit too close for comfort. It's an almost exact mirror copy move. And Peter's Weem has had his race ruined again. And this time there's a much more significant damage there. It seems that that corner is cursed. Brooklands is ruining the races of almost everyone who tries to go for a move there, and it might happen again. Schultz, under threat from Brian Wilson, went a bit wide at Brooklands, is able to hold on. Can the Spitfire McLaren make a move at Copse? It is not a huge amount of overspeed. He's going to have to hold back for now. So Schultz going rather slowly through Copse, and that's opened the door for Brian Wilson. And the Spitfire McLaren makes his way past. And moves up into 15th place. A little bit of damage on the splitter of the McLaren there. Looks rather superficial. Cosmetic more than anything. And now we can see if he can catch up to Jabber, who is 6.3 seconds up the road in the yellow Iron Lynx McLaren. Not McLaren, Lamborghini. There's now a three-way battle for 10th, but Peter's Weem, with his damaged Lamborghini, is not really in the running for this. He's going to hold on as long as he can, but he's now being pushed along by Summerall. He's going to be very slow in a straight line, I imagine. And I wonder if he's going to come into the pits and see if he can repair his damage. Oh, what's going on? I think there's a bit of lag, potentially. Peter's Weem still holding on. Is he going to dive into the pits? No, he is not. He's going to stay out till scheduled pit stops, if there are any. But at the minute, he's just holding Summerall up. You can see that he was almost a second off. A second slower than Summerall, and he went wide at Copse, and that just allowed Summerall right past. So the McLaren now chasing after Khalid Malcolm in P10. Going a bit wide though. It's not quite what you want to do. Shaw and Slovic now fighting through Stowe. Thought there was a little bit of contact there. Probably not though. It's BMW versus Ferrari now. Oh, that's getting very close for comfort. I thought for sure they were going to touch. Wasn't the case in the end though, as Shaw now 0.4 off the back of the Ferrari. And Ferrari not looking the most comfortable through Abbey. There's some dust ahead, someone's gone slightly onto the grass. Oh, that's getting very, very close. Shaw very late on the brakes. Slovic defending. Shaw gonna go up the inside. Doesn't quite have the traction though. There's a fight ahead between Verhulst, Dawn and Slovic. I think Dawn has definitely lost out. And that's Kent actually in P5. So Dawn has had a spin or something at some point. He's been displaced by Radek. Bowler in a bit of no man's land as the two guys in front locked in battle, and Corsio only being dropped by thousandths per lap by the looks of things. Completely different league. Kent holding on to P5. He's pretty much back where he was before his crash with Krebs and Radek. Though, of course, behind Radek now. And under threat from a McLaren or two. In the background, we can see that Shaw managed to get past Slovic. And now Sherlock looking to make his way past Slovic as well. 2017 was Sherlock's last lap. 2019 was Slovic's. So the Ferrari definitely a little bit slower. Should be dropping back ever so slightly. Keep an eye on this battle for now. What can the Mercedes do on the Ferrari? The 555. That's Peter Zweem in the pits, either repairing or basically retired. Gap between Slovic and Sherlock now half a second. And that gap is just growing a little bit. Keep an eye on the... Oh, that's a bit of a slide for the AMG. Bit of oversteer potentially, or it's just a bit of lag maybe. We'll keep an eye on their lap times. What times are they going to do? Dawn does 2020, Shaw 2018, 229 and 2024. So Shaw is faster than both the cars behind, and Sherlock not fast enough to get past Slovic. In fact, may soon be under threat from Summerall. In fact, I've just realised that Sherlock is actually a lap down. Don't know when that happened. Summerall going off onto the runoff, to the grass. So Sherlock isn't fighting for P9 here, he's just in no man's land. He's been lapped a million times. So Kent and Verhulst. We've looked at this Aston Martin before, we're getting to hear it again. P5 ahead of the McLaren. Verhulst up until now has had drivers who are just not as good. Hang on, there's been a spin for the number 19. That's Jabber. And a bit of a oopsie at Stowe. Under threat from Schultz now. But he's got going again. Meanwhile, up ahead, Dawn and Verhulst are closer to each other than Verhulst is to Kent. So we could see the McLaren swapping positions here. Keep an eye on this. Dawn is faster than Verhulst. 2:0.6, 2:01.1, and Kent 2:0.8. So Kent slower than Dawn, but faster than Verhulst on that last lap. The fact of the matter is he faster than Radek? Radek had a 2:0.392, so he was definitely faster than Kent. So Radek seems to have P4 nailed down here. I don't know if we're going to get pit stops though. We might. Or we might not. I just listened to that V12 though. Now Verhulst appears to be having a better lap than Dawn here. 1.2, 1.1 seconds to the car behind now. Of course, we can't see the set displays. In fact, that last lap was Dawn's best. It's all downhill from here. Once again, we'll keep an eye on the lap times as Summerhill looking to close on Slovic now. He's managed to get past Sherlock and lap him. And he make it a McLaren ahead of a Ferrari. Meanwhile, lap times for positions 4, 5, 6 and 7 rather. Kent 2:07 for Radek, 2:06 for Kent, 2:05, 2:012 for Dawn. So Verhulst and Kent pulling away from Dawn on that lap, and Kent slightly faster than Radek. Battle for P4 not yet decided. The Radek, of course, a lot more comfortable than Kent is, because Verhulst starting to get his mojo on, catching the Aston Martin at the rate of knots through Maggots and Beckett's. To now less than a second. If this was Formula 1, he'd have DRS right now. Coming through Vale once again. The gap still closing, so Verhulst, if I didn't know better, I'd say he's activated an additional engine mode, but he's clearly driving as best to the best of his abilities. This might end up being the fastest lap of his race so far. Meanwhile, the gap between the top two has grown. It's about 3 to 4 seconds now, so Corsiel not really in with a chance of winning this race at the minute. Not unless there's a safety car, which I don't even know if there is a safety car feature in this game, as we have reached the halfway mark. Verhulst sort of gravitating at 0.6 of a second. The gap to Radek has actually closed. I think Kent's also putting in one hell of a lap. Oh, never mind, he's not. Radek finally makes his car the first to pit. Now Now, is this going to activate a round of pit stops? Maybe. As Verhulst had a better lap than Kent there, I think. Without a doubt. Verhulst very close to the Aston now. Will we see a round of pit stops? Will Kent go for new tyres, or is that Radek just pitting because his damage was too great? Well, the number 1 car is coming in as well. It looks like we are getting pit stops. Who is the number 1 though? I don't remember. Hang on. Number 1 is Brian Wilson, so he's at the back. He doesn't really have anything to lose in the first place. Kent in P4 has quite a lot to lose. The 4th place is a fair chunk of points. Can he take these tyres all the way to the end? Can he hold off for Hulst? It doesn't look like he's going to be able to. But of course, Kent is not going to be a pushover. Verhulst is going to have to fight for this. As we saw the 71 AF Corsa Ferrari shooting by in the background there, going through Maggots and Beckett's. He's come out of the pits. He was stopping just for tyres and potentially fuel, I think. No one else stopping yet, as Brian Wilson is coming out of the pits. 0.6 to 0.7, so these two very evenly matched at the minute. Kent was slightly slower on that last lap than Verhulst was. But that gap is closing a lot through Maggots and Beckett's. The McLaren definitely seeming to be the better car through that series of corners, and he's right behind the Aston Martin. And now that Vantage has to rely on all of its V12 oomph, and it's definitely holding off the McLaren for now. Spin or something going on in Brooklands and Luffield. The number 30 come a cropper somewhat, but he's pretty much right at the back of the field anyway, so not much of a threat to anyone. And he's got going again anyway, so he's safe. And Kent has opened the gap to Verhulst again. Oh, he's gone a bit too optimistic through Abbey there. Oh, it's very late on the brakes for Verhulst. Took a lot of speed. Gonna have a look at the inside of the next left-hander, but not able to make the move. That's not really an overtaking opportunity. Maybe if you were in something much lighter with a bit less power, like a Formula 3 car, maybe. So at the minute, this is the only real fight on the track. Everyone else is a bit too far apart for that to be a real battle. And I think, have we lost another driver? Has Sherlock retired the car? I don't see him anymore. I'm gonna adjust. I don't see Sherlock on the timing boards anymore, so I think Sherlock has called it quits. Yeah. In fact, I don't even see Brian Wilson anymore, though he's in front of the 91. Which is, of course, Kent, who is under real pressure now. Can he hold on? Once again, going down the hanger straight. And Verhulst gonna take a bit of a dive, but just goes a bit too wide through Stowe. And Kent holding on for yet another lap or so. But Verhulst definitely wants this place. But like I said, Kent is no pushover. we're going to be riding with these guys for a little while, I think, because, like I said, it's the only real battle on track. No one else is close enough. Oh, a bit too much curb for Verhulst. That's going to unsettle him through this section a little bit. That gap now 0.6 of a second. There's a traffic cone in the middle of the track. And that's that little mistake from Verhulst has given Charlie Kent a little bit of breathing room. Now 0.8, 0.7, 0.6. Seems the Vantage is not quite so good through the corners as the 720S. Bit of lights flashing. Kent saying, coming through. Mr. Spitfire, get out of the way. I'm racing. But not you. And Verhulst actually does get out of the way. A bit of teamwork, potentially. Looked like he was providing a bit too much of a block for Charlie. But the moment that Verhulst was there, he got out of the way like a dutiful little McLaren. More McLarens behind. That's Christian Dawn in P6. Gradually has lost touch of this battle. And the Aston Vantage still holding on to P4, with Dries Verhulst just not able to make any significant inroads. Though he is catching again, so that little mistake he had through village or farm or whatever didn't unsettle him for long. Very minor mistake. And he takes that corner a bit wider on this occasion. Traffic cone still there. Evidently not cause for a yellow flag. Schroeder's put in a 59. 1:59 and Scorcio a 2-minute 0.4. Those two just checked out at the front, though Schroeder more than likely going to win this race. Bowler 2:0.8. What are these two getting to do? Kent and Verhulst next across the line. 2:1:020.4. So Verhulst 0.6 faster than Charlie Kent on that last lap. So it's going to be potentially quite scrappy if they towards the end if Verhulst can't get past. He's much quicker through Maggots and Beckett's, but he just doesn't seem to have the straight line power of the Aston Martin. Despite tucking into the slipstream and having the smaller wing, he just can't get past on this occasion. And he's going very wide, so he's got Stowe a bit wrong. Fail once again. Down the pit straight for the Formula One races. That gap still within a second. And if Verhulst can't get past here, that could open the door for Christian Dawn, who is potentially starting to close a bit. We'll have a look at his lap times again. Charlie Kent, last lap, 2:01.010. Verhulst, 2:00.477. Christian Dawn, 2:01.330. So that's still slower than these two, and in fact has dropped by an additional 0.7, I think, by the looks of things. Well, maybe not quite that much, but still. 71 is catching the 21. No one else has made the pit stop yet. So I'm wondering if Radek has made a bit of a tactical, strategic error with that pit stop, or if he just had to do it. Verhulst is a lot closer through Klops now. Very close, taking a lot of the inside curb, but too much is way too much. That's going to really unsettle him. Got way too adventurous and has to take to the runoff. That's going to ruin his run, at least on this lap, and he's got to make up all that time again. Went rather amazingly wrongly. Charlie Kent's last lap, 2:00.695, 2:00.555. So Verhulst was faster in that last lap by only a tenth and has lost way more than that through Maggots and Beckett's by believing that his McLaren could be an off-roader. And we've got yellow flags ahead as well. 71 Radek, 15th and last at the minute. Having good laps. 159.8 is his best, and I think that was his last lap before this one, until he made a bit of a whoopsie. Of course, no one has made the call other than Radek and Wilson to pit for new tyres. I think Radek did repair his car because it's looking a lot cleaner this time around. But he's about to find himself lapped by Schroeder, who is not far down the road. Verhulst and Kent and Verhulst still locked in battle. Verhulst had a slower lap than Kent, but only by 0.3 of a second, and that's despite getting Maggots and Beckett's completely wrong. And he's once again to within half a second. But whilst he has the grip through the corners, he still does not have the straight line pace to overtake the Aston Martin. This could be a race-long battle here. Unless Kent gets Stowe a bit wrong. This is the best opportunity that Verhulst has had in a while. Can he take to the outside? He's going for it. Up the inside of Vale. It's going to turn into the inside of the next corner, and it's just not quite close enough. It was a valiant effort. But still, the status quo remains. Shaw and Summerhill also closely matched, 7th and 8th at the minute. Dawn's going to fill all into their clutches. His lap time's just not good enough to maintain his position at the minute. And Brian Wilson just miles off the pace. Summerhill looks like he's being rather consistent. 2:0.5 was his last lap, 2:0.3 is his best. Whilst Shaw, definitely slower. 2:08 was his last, 2:07 is his best. Brian Wilson getting out of the way. Got himself lapped twice more. Lots of corner cutting going on. Verhulst still not close enough to Clark Kent. I called him Clark again. 2:01.117 was his last lap. 2:01.235 for Charlie. Oh, bit of a poor Maggots and Beckett's for Charlie again, but still not bad enough to open the door for Verhulst. You got to feel the frustration that Dries is going through here. He's barely putting a foot wrong. I mean, 9 times out of 10, he's not putting a foot wrong, and yet he's just not able to get past the Aston Martin, who is consistently slower than him. There will soon be another battle on track as Christian Dawn is gradually falling into the clutches of Jamie Shaw and Zach Summerall. So it will be two McLarens versus a BMW. And Verhulst once again right up the chuff of the Aston, but still doesn't have the traction. Radek into the pits again, and I think he's retiring the car. Or maybe he's picked up damage again. But that's his race over. He was in P4 at one point. And I just don't understand why he made the pit stop if he didn't have to. Because no one else has made a pit stop aside from Brian Wilson. 209 for Verhulst, 209 as well, so very evenly matched on that last lap for these two. At the minute, this race is just all about Kent, who might have got that a bit wrong. Cutting the corners, this is opening the door. Verhulst smells the blood in the water. Can he do it? Kent got it all wrong, all out of shape. Can he do it? Can he hold on? It looks like he might be able to. He just has to get Stowe correct. Early on the brakes. Verhulst trying to go a bit narrower. What does that say on the back of the Aston there? No cylinders. Yeah, it says no cylinders. I have 12. You only have 8, Mr. McLaren. Not that it's helping. Oh, there's a car going slowly through Luffield again. That's the number 19. That's Jabber. Potentially overcooked Brooklands. And Kent getting just a bit too adventurous on the grass on the inside of Abbey. And that's Verhulst going for it up the inside. And that opened the door for Kent, who is going to fight back. But this could finally be the move that decides P4. But Kent got caught napping completely by surprise, but he's got the traction. He's got the power. They're going side by side down the Wellington Straight. Can he hold on? It's going to be the inside for Brooklands, and Verhulst is going to hold on just about, but he's got it a bit wrong on the exit. And Kent retakes the position going through Luffield. Just 11 and a half minutes more of that, please. That was mighty close. Look how close their lap times were as well. And behind, Shaw getting past Dawn as well. Summerall will be next. Christian Dawn just not fast enough. But Dawn fighting back. A bit of wheel banging between the two McLarens, but no spins, at least. And you could definitely tell that the Aston Martin, that those 12 cylinders definitely seem to be helping it out. They may have identical horsepower, but the 12-cylinder engine seems to just be a bit better on the acceleration. There's definitely a bit more traction in that Aston Martin than there is in the McLaren. Some mighty close racing at the minute. 10 minutes and 20 seconds to go of this race, plus 1 lap potentially. Schroeder has now lapped everyone up to 13th, and Verhulst gonna try and go for it again into the village section. Not able to hold on to make the move. Poor traction maybe for Kent, but able to hold on. And the fight continues. Behind, looks like there's going to be a bit more fighting going on. Summerall now ahead of Dawn. And chasing after Shaw within a second. Verhulst still looking for every avenue he can to get past that Aston Martin. I wonder if maybe he's taken a bit too much out of the tyres because he had a 10th of a lap on that occasion, going a little bit wide at Copse. Number 695, Corsiol is overtaking Schultz, lapping him. The gap between positions 1 and 2 quite large, as well as the positions between 2 and 3, just massive gulf. And look how much Kent is pulling away. It's not by a huge amount, but that Aston definitely pulling away. Verhulst's gonna try and go for it up the inside of Stowe, but just not quite able to make it stick. Can he go for it up through Vale, though? That's what he's definitely going to try and do. Up the inside, he goes. It's going to be the inside again for Kent. Oh, and it's gone a bit wrong for Verhulst. He gets a tank slapper and has to fall back into P5 again. So the McLaren, definitely the faster of these two cars around the track as a whole, but the Aston Martin fast enough down the straights, and I think Verhulst might have it again here. Kent can't close the door, but Verhulst gonna get poor traction. They're gonna go side by side again, and this time Kent is behind. And this might be the move. Kent's gonna go up the inside again. Can he make it stick? He's going for it. And there's more contact. And this time, I think that's it. That is all she wrote. That was Kent's last opportunity to retake P4. And in the end, it just didn't quite work out. But now, well, Verhulst had all the dirty air all this time. And he still was able to make the moves, was still able to keep up, and it was some valiant defending from Charlie there. But now he's going to start falling back from the McLaren, who's just faster overall. Round of applause, please, for Charlie. He did his level best there. Of course, in the end, his best just wasn't enough. Behind, Summerall not catching Shaw by leaps and bounds either. Ugh. That battle lasted a good, oh God, it feels like 20 or 30 minutes, it feels like. It's technically not over yet. But, for all intents and purposes, it's over. I don't see any way that Kent can get back past Verhulst here. Dawn actually getting a bit racy on Summerall. He's had a decent last lap. He was faster than Summerall on the previous attempt. Shaw had his best lap time on the previous lap. It's going to be McLaren versus McLaren again, with 5 minutes and 30 seconds of the race remaining. And it's Corsiol looking to make his way past yet another car. And that is Maychek and the Audi being passed. Schroeder, meanwhile, has absolutely dominated this race. Looks like nothing can stop him. He's sort of just checked out, and that was all she wrote. Corsiol held on for a while, but in the end he is now almost 10 seconds clear of the Lamborghini in second. And there's almost 18 full seconds between Corsiol and Bowler. Top 3 positions were decided by the beginning of lap 2. It's just, that was it. Nothing has really interrupted these 3. They've been completely untouchable. Not just to everyone else, but to each other. And you're not going to give Kent credit. He's still keeping up with Verhulst, though that gap is still gradually growing. Summerhill didn't have a good lap last time around. I do believe we've lost a few more drivers. Bomberclat has actually pit. 3 minutes and 30 seconds of the race remaining. I don't think we're going to see many more positions made here. A little bit of a fight going on for P12 between Bomberclat, who's just pit, and Maychek. And our sort of Golf-style WRT Audi. And the Audi looking a bit faster down the straight. Definitely faster than the McLaren, but going around the outside of Stowe, can he make it stick? Well, he can if Bomberclat takes to the runoff a bit too much. Car. Maychek has the inside for the first corner of Vale. Can he close the door? Yes, he does. Maychek into P12. That's Bomberclat in the second of the 2 Spitfire McLarens. Down into 13th as Jabber gets lapped by Nathan Corsiol. And this might end up being the penultimate lap of the race. Schroeder doing a bit of weaving, maybe feels his tyres are a little bit cold. He could just cruise to the finish line here. Yeah, I do believe that this is the penultimate lap we're on. We'll listen to the announcer guy. Through Woodcut, across the line, and it doesn't say final lap. Interesting. I would imagine that should have been final lap though. Kent has actually managed to catch back up to Verhulst, so this battle really is not decided yet. Kent wants his P4 back. He held on to it for so long. Can he take advantage of the full 520 horsepower of that V12 engine? This is going to go down to the wire. Kent has the speed, he has the traction, but he doesn't have the cornering ability, which could prove his downfall through Maggots and Becketts. He's certainly lost a bit of time through Cops even. Keep an eye on things. What is the gap at the minute? 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8. You lose 0.3 of a second through Maggots and Becketts. You're just not going to make that up down the straight. Not without DRS and a supercharger. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all she wrote for Kent, who's doing everything he can, but just cannot get back past Verhulst. He has to now hope that the McLaren makes a mistake. Maychek and Bomberclat still fighting as well. At the front though, Ferry Schroeder has been completely untouchable this entire race. The clock is counting down. We have hit 0. Checkered flag is out. Almost certainly, indeed it is. Ferry Schroeder comes across the line for a very comfortable victory. 13.3 seconds ahead of Nathan Corsiol in the Iron Lynx Lamborghini, who, despite holding on for the opening rounds, couldn't hold on for the rest of the race. Jabber will be P11. Maychek and Bomberclat fight across the line for 12th and 13th. Bowler a very comfortable P3, but whereas Verhulst, he is still P4, ahead of Charlie Kent, who despite his very best efforts can only manage 5th. Verhulst across the line, Kent, valiant 5th, Shaw and Summerall, almost a photo finish. Shaw in P6. Christian Dorn has to settle for P8. Slovak in P9. And Khalid Malcolm, the last man on the lead lap, in P10. The race was uneventful for the most part. We were just looking at the one battle that was on track. And in the end, there we go. Krebs retired after 23 laps ago. Peters Weem after 19 laps. Sherlock, and we did lose Radek as well. 9 laps, so we had 15 finishers. Definitely going to be a bit of investigations going on between some of these drivers. Kent and Krebs and Radek. That collision 23 laps ago, only 7 laps in, and we've lost connection, so it doesn't matter. Oh yes, an affiliate anniversary. So we've been an affiliate channel for a year. It gave me the option to send that, wasn't able to. Schroeder has apparently won the championship. I don't know how points work in this championship, so if he's champion, then congratulations. Let's have a look. ACC standings, I'm back in September for some reason. Peters Weem, after retiring, can't tell. That is a massive picture. Let me just take a look. So Schroeder was P3 going into this round with 201 points. 1 point behind Corsiel. So by finishing ahead of Corsiel, he's obviously overtaken Corsiel in the championship. What about Peters Weem though? Because I don't know how many points you get for a win in this series. Like, if it was Formula 1 and 25 points, then he would only be 14.5 points ahead of Peters Weem. But I really don't know. Someone please tell me. 28 points for a victory? Well, surely Peters Weem is not out of the championship then. How's he got that then? Because looking on the standings on our Discord, it says he's in 3rd place. Oh, the game's crashed. Okay. Oh well. There we go. There we go indeed. Well, thank you for watching, everyone. Whoever is champion, apparently Short is champion. Don't know. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Either way, thank you for watching, everyone. We'll catch you next week for more ACC. We'll catch you on Sunday for Formula 1, F1 23. And I'll catch you on my YouTube channel, if anyone is interested, at 9 o'clock, because I will be streaming the Dead Space remake on my YouTube channel. So if anyone is interested, you can find my YouTube at still_guns. I'll be streaming the Dead Space remake for a little bit. In the meantime, though, thank you for watching, everyone, and until then, good night.